Alright, be the change you want to see in the world. It is November 27th, 2023, and this is just going to be a short video about... Okay. Miss Kitty wants to say hi. This is going to be just a short video about the Doctor Who 60th anniversary's first episode, I guess. The Star Beast. Because we need to talk about it. Russell T Davies, and obviously don't watch this video if you are planning to watch The Star Beast and don't want spoilers. If you have no idea what Doctor Who is, then I would just stop watching here, because you should just go watch it and find out. Okay, anyways. Russell T Davies needs to hire a sensitivity reader for when he is writing about minority groups that he is not a part of. If you have been in the Doctor Who fandom since 2005, and whatever year it was that Martha joined, I hope you have realized this by now, because he's good at writing interesting characters, but he's not good at writing minorities that he's not a part of, as can be seen in the terrible treatment towards Martha, the first black companion ever to exist in Doctor Who, I'm pretty sure. She is treated horribly by the Doctor. She's literally the rebound companion. And I don't actually know if a lot of people have made videos about that. So I'll make a better video about that at some point when I have watched her episodes again, more recently. But this is supposed to be about Star Beast, because Russell T Davies is a cis gay white man, and he needs to hire sensitivity readers, because if he'd hired sensitivity readers to go over Martha's arc, there would be less racism and less misogynoir. And you can just look up what misogynoir means. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. Anyways, the problem with Star Beast is, well, there's several problems. First of all, and I'm assuming you have watched the show, I'm not going to explain the plot here. So, and I meant the episode. I'm assuming you have watched the episode. I'm not going to sit here and explain the plot. Go watch it. Come back and watch this. Anyways, I can't tell if he is writing Rose to be a non-binary trans woman intentionally, as in that's a purposeful thing that he's doing on purpose to show and represent the diversity of the trans experience, because it is 100% possible to be non-binary and a woman at the same time, and it's very possible to be a non-binary trans woman. But I can't tell if Russell T Davies is actually doing that on purpose, or if he just thinks that all trans people are inherently non-binary by virtue of being trans, and that is absolutely not how this works. And if that is what he is assuming, that's just very transmissic. And for those unaware, transmissic is a synonym for transphobic, except using the suffix misia, which is where the word hatred comes from, instead of phobic, because bigots are not scared of trans people or gay people or whoever it is. They hate us. There's a difference. Misia is also where the miso in misogyny comes from. Misogyny literally means hatred of women or females or whatever the hell you want to say. That's what gyne means. Like a gynoid is a robot designed to look like a woman. Anyways, the problem with Star Beast is that, okay, first of all, we learned that Rose is trans, not because she tells anybody, not because anybody's talking about anything joyful or fun with her being trans. Like, I don't know, maybe celebrating however many years she's been on HRT. Maybe celebrating her coming out day? Literally anything nice and fun? No. Nope. We find out that she's trans because she gets sexually harassed and dead named on the street. And that's how we find out she's trans. As she's being subject to a hate crime. And I don't know what cis person needs to hear this, but it's just shit. It's 2023. You need to do better. Trans people are not in constant misery. And yes, it is important to show that hate crimes against trans people exist and that street harassment against trans people is very real. But that should not be... Sorry, I heard a noise of the cats. Yeah, that's a thing. Yes, it's important to say that it's bad, but that shouldn't be the only freaking way you decide to show us that a character is trans. That's just putting on a show for cis people, and that's not what your trans characters should be. Like, you can write trans characters to be educational, but, like, there's a line. And introducing your trans character and letting us know that the character is trans in 2023 by just having them be sexually harassed on the street is not okay. It's 2023. This isn't the 1990s or the early 2000s. You gotta do better. Hire sensitivity readers if you're going to write for a minority group that you're not a part of. Okay, that's problem one. And then problem two was trying, like, does he think all trans people are inherently non-binary? Because that's literally not how this works. And if that's what he thinks, that is a problem. And also, as, like, problem 2.2, what in the fuck is he talking about? This isn't... Yes, it is a problem. What in the fuck is supposed to be the solution to the meta crisis where it doesn't make any fucking sense? Let's just say that. It doesn't make any fucking sense. How is the Doctor and Donna binary, but then adding a third person somehow makes it non-binary and somehow that's a solution? Like, this is not a computer. It's ridiculous. And also, okay, problem 3. It's not even implied. It is explicitly stated that Rose is trans. And I guess non-binary. Maybe. Explicitly because of the fact that her mom had alien DNA that has been passed down to her. And oh my fucking god. Again, it's 2023. We are not in the 90s. It's 2023. This is such bullshit. Like, it's ridiculous. The fact that Rose, it is explicit. They explicitly say this. She's literally trans because she's not fully human. Go ahead and just take a few minutes. You can even pause this video and set a 30-second timer at the bare minimum. Just think about that. This trans character is only trans because she's not actually human. Or at least not fully human. Just think about that. Think about why that is a problem. Picture any other minority group. Literally any other group, and you being told as your first representation for this group in Doctor Who as a main character who's not literally just a one-off bigoted joke, and being told that the only reason that character is part of that minority group in the first place is because they're not actually human, and they're explicitly inhuman, and that's what is making them be part of that group. That is just absurd. And this is just feeding into a stereotype so fucking old, and I don't know why we need to be explaining this in 2023 for Doctor fucking Who. Probably one of the longest running television shows ever, now with a budget of just so much freaking money that Disney is giving them. There is a stereotype, or just called the non-binary robot, or non-binary alien. It doesn't really seem to care if it's a robot or alien, because the point is that the only way to be non-binary is to not be human. Aliens are all non-binary because, well, they aren't human. And same with robots. They don't have sex, so they can't have any kind of gender, obviously. And this is very much a fucking problem. Because guess what? Humans are non-binary. That's literally not up for debate. Humans are non-binary. Humans being non-binary is exactly as natural as humans being men and women 100%. So when cis people can only imagine characters who are non-binary when they are only explicitly non-binary, explicitly, because they're not fully human, do you understand the problem there? This is called dehumanization and othering, and it's literally just saying that the only way to actually be non-binary is to not be human in the first place, which feeds into the idea that non-binary people just straight up don't exist. Because in reality, outside of television, we haven't actually met aliens. You can, whatever about the bullshit the military has released, that has nothing to do with anything. We don't have aliens. We don't have sentient robots. The only non-binary people in the world are all human. So saying that, well, the only trans character that's non-binary is explicitly non-binary because she's not actually human, that's a fucking problem. And it has been a problem for fucking ever. I was going to list some obvious examples, but now I can't think of any, because this does not have a script, and I don't care. I'm just going to say whatever I want. Okay, anyways. That was problem 3. So, problem 4. And this is probably the biggest one. And it's just patently fucking absurd and absolutely infuriating. At the very end of the episode, after the meta-crisis has been magically dealt with in the most ridiculous way possible, and it would have been fine, except for this line, Donna and Rose just wave their hands in the air and dispel the meta-crisis, and I would have been fine with this if they'd just said, yeah, it's not dangerous anymore because now we're both bearing the load, and therefore it's less weight, it's taking up less space for each of us, so it's not dangerous anymore, and it's not going to kill anybody. That would have been fine. That's like literally how ropes work. That's why 2 people picking up a box means both people are carrying less weight. That's literally all they had to do to explain it. Except that's still stupid, because if all you had to do was transfer some of it out, explain to me why that couldn't have just been done the first time. But anyways, that's not the problem. That explanation would have been fine. It would have been stupid, but it would have been fine. The problem is that we are then told that the doctor, we're told that they can just let go of the meta-crisis. Just let it go, as a Disney reference that's painful, to say the least. But then they make it worse, because they say explicitly that it's too bad the doctor isn't a woman anymore, because she would have understand. And this is something a male-presenting Time Lord never will understand. And just, dear fucking God, do I really need to explain why this is a problem? Obviously I do, because it got written into the episode. And this review is just going to go all out of order because I'm autistic, I have ADHD, and it's like 11:30 at night. I'm supposed to be writing something right now. But anyways, before this, there was like some really fucking extremely confusing conversation going rapid fire about how the doctor is binary but is also non-binary and is male and female and neither and more and all of this, and it was really confusing because the subtitles weren't really working, and like apparently everybody else seems to be convinced that this was 100% the doctor being confirmed on screen as non-binary, and I don't really see that because this was really, really confusing and happened in like 2 seconds flat. And if a non-binary person is confused about what was going on, I don't think that counts as a character being confirmed as non-binary. But anyways, that this conversation happened that supposedly confirmed that the doctor is non-binary. But then we get these two lines, one after the other, in it's painful and pathetic and like just so fucking outdated, it's embarrassing. Like, this is very clearly going for the girl boss TM feminism of like the 1990s, where this is like Joss Whedon style feminism, where it's feminism when a girl kicks your ass but then also gets killed off because he doesn't like that the actress got pregnant. So, like, it's not actually feminism. It's masquerading as feminism by saying that women are better. And that's literally not what feminism is. And if I need to explain to you why that's not feminism, you don't know what feminism is, and you need to accept that. Go read a book by some actual fucking feminists. Go read something by Leslie Feinberg. Anyways, where the heck was I? Okay, yeah. The problem here is that we just had this whole thing where the doctor was apparently confirmed to be non-binary, and it was acknowledged, or at least stated, that the doctor is male and female, and neither, and more. Alright, that sounds great, in theory. But then it is immediately followed by the line, "It's too bad you're not a woman anymore," referencing the 13th Doctor, who was just regenerated out of, who was played by Jodie Whittaker, a woman. And this is followed by, something a male-presenting Time Lord would never understand, with male-presenting being directed at the Doctor now, played by David Tennant again. David Tennant is a man. Jodie Whittaker is a woman. And everyone, including Russell T fucking Davies, who has no excuse, seems to be convinced that because a man is playing the Doctor, that makes the Doctor a man, and because a woman is playing the Doctor, that makes the Doctor a woman. And if I need to explain to you how that is absolutely not how this works, then, well, you don't know anything about trans issues. And that goes double for if you are yourself trans. If you can't figure out why that's wrong, you need to go read some books by Leslie Feinberg. How about? They're free on the web archive. Literally. You don't even have to pay money. Anyways, no. The Doctor, after we've just been told, apparently, that the Doctor is non-binary, to then be told that the Doctor, as played by Jodie Whittaker, was a woman because Jodie Whittaker was the actress, is just absolutely not how this works. We can't even say AGAB or assigned gender at birth for the Doctor because, like, these are not genders being assigned at birth by a doctor. writing on a birth certificate. This is the gender being assigned to the doctor at each regeneration by society. The doctor is not a woman just because the doctor is being played by Jodie Whittaker. And everybody looks at Jodie Whittaker and says, oh yeah, that's a woman. That does not make the doctor a woman. Any more than the doctor is magically a man because they're being played by David Tennant. That is literally not how gender works. That is not how any of this works. This video has gone on for 20 minutes now, and I'm just gonna keep going. Like, I don't know how to tell you, but there are trans people who look like men, and they're not men. There are trans people who look like women, and they're not women, because that's not how gender works. You can have boobs and look quote-unquote feminine and not be a woman. You can have short hair and a flat chest and look quote-unquote masculine and not be a man. If the doctor is non-binary, which we literally apparently just established like 5 minutes before this line, possibly even less, then how are you immediately going to follow that up with saying that the doctor was a woman in the last regeneration and is no longer a woman and is instead now male presenting simply because the doctor is being played by David Tennant? That is not how this fucking works. Male presenting and female presenting and masculine presenting and feminine presenting and any other variation thereupon, those are not fucking synonyms for assigned gender at birth or whatever the fucking Time Lord equivalent would be here. We are not making up a brand new term for the doctor. Just because the doctor is assigned female at birth, we're just gonna go with that. When played by Jodie Whittaker, does not mean the doctor is a woman, and it does not mean the doctor is female presenting or feminine presenting. And just because the doctor is, I guess, assigned male at birth when played by David Tennant, does not mean that the doctor is now a man. It doesn't mean the doctor is male presenting or masculine presenting. That is not what those fucking words mean. Male presenting. It's literally in the word. Presenting means putting on a performance, choosing consciously to act and present that way. David Tennant playing the doctor does not make the doctor male presenting, because that's literally just the doctor's current body. That has nothing to do with any decision in regards to gender or gender presentation. Male presenting is not a fucking synonym for looks like a man or assigned male at birth or any other fucking thing you want to say, or, currently being played by a man. That is not what that means. You cannot just fucking go around and call people male presenting or female presenting because you think they look like a man or you think they look like a woman or whatever. Those are not terms anybody gets to call anybody else unless you have explicitly been asked to by the person in question. Those are strictly self-identification terms. Somebody can choose to identify as male presenting. For example, a trans man, or a trans masculine non-binary person, or a non-binary person who wants to pass as a man, even if they're not a man, for safety purposes, or literally any other reason. They can choose to identify themselves as male presenting, or masculine presenting, or any of their variation thereupon. Same thing with female presenting, or feminine presenting, or any variation thereupon. And you notice how back in 2005, Russell T Davies was just casually including the fact that non-binary people exist every time anybody said any variation of ladies and gentlemen, and variations thereupon. Ladies, gentlemen, blah blah blah. whatever, I don't remember, because there were like 6 different variations of this thing, just casually acknowledging the fact that men and women are not the only genders that exist. It happened in Midnight. It happened in the one with the thing so many times. I can't even keep track. It happened when the earth blew up with Cassandra. And the fact that Cassandra, who no is not good trans representation, was still trans because she used to be a boy. And wow, that was like back in 2005. And now we're in 2023. But now all of a sudden we are going backwards instead of forwards. Like it's 2023. Biological essentialism and gender essentialism, which is what you are doing when you say, it's too bad you're not a woman anymore because she would have understood. This is something a male-presenting Time Lord could never understand. That's called gender essentialism, first of all, for saying that women magically know things. No, they fucking don't. And second of all, biological essentialism for saying that because David Tennant is the one playing the Doctor, that automatically makes the Doctor male-presenting. That's not fucking okay. It's 2023. Russell T Davies has a ridiculous fucking budget to produce Doctor Who with. Disney, the fucking evil mega corporation monopoly, is throwing money at Doctor Who. And that's a whole fucking evil can of worms. Yeah, all in itself. But the point is, Doctor Who has money. They have the fucking budget to hire not even just one, many sensitivity readers. Or you wouldn't even need to hire anybody. Just have some trans fucking friends come by and read over the script. Just say, hey, just call up your fucking trans friends or anybody there's trans friends and say, hey, what do you guys think of this script? What do you think of this joke? What do you think of this line? Because it's been it's been a day now. Almost 2 days, I guess. I don't know what time it aired in Britain. And literally there are thousands of trans people just on my very small corner of the internet. Thousands of trans people, all in complete agreement that this line was terrible and hurtful and shows a complete and fundamental lack of understanding of what gender is, what gender identity is, and all of the themes that the episode was supposedly going for just get thrown out the window because that line just undoes all of it. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't even know what the moral of this was supposed to be because this line just messes all of it up. The Doctor is fucking confused and doesn't know, and I quote, don't know who I am anymore. And then we get confirmation, apparently, of the Doctor being non-binary by saying that the Doctor is male and female and neither and more, or whatever it went. And it's like, okay, that's great. But then that's immediately followed by Donna and Rose assigning the Doctor the identity of male and assigning the Doctor as presenting as male, literally only because the Doctor is being played by David Tennant, a man. And I really have to fucking say, I am so fucking sorry to all the trans women and trans feminine people who found representation in the 13th Doctor and thought that they were going to be respected and have quality representation, because this has to be a slap in the fucking face. Because the Doctor was literally just played by a woman, like, chronologically, in universe, like 24 hours ago, less than 24 hours ago. And Like, this is just so fucking cruel, because so many trans feminine people and trans women were so fucking excited for the 13th Doctor, and now this comes along and says that, pretty much summing it up, well, you have a penis now, so you can't understand. And like, that, there's just so much fucking wrong with that. Even before we get to the part where this is just assigning the Doctor a gender and assigning the Doctor as purposefully presenting as male, when that's literally just the body they were generated into, which they have no control over. It's just fucking cruel, and it's ridiculous. And, like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but it's 2020 fucking 3. We're not in a shitty sitcom in the 90s where feminists are all rad femmes screeching harpies who think that all men are inherently violent and women are pure and innocent, and, to quote, paraphrasingly, because I fucking hate him, Bram Stoker, pure and innocent and sweet and innocent. And I mentioned I fucking hate Dracula. Any fucking ways. It's 2023. Pretending that women are mysterious and wise and always know everything and men can never ever understand is not feminism. That has never been fucking feminism. It has been no, that's not how this works. And the fact that Russell T Davies is in 2023 writing this fake feminist bullshit of, it's like the fucking divine feminine shit. And that's not how this fucking works. And the fact that in 2023 his writing is more fucking sexist than it was in 2005 is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, what in the hell is going on? Is it the Disney money? Did the fucking Disney people who are giving them the fucking money for all these special effects, did they tell him you have to be misogynistic, or did he just get fucking comfortable resting on his laurels of writing Doctor Who and reviving Doctor Who that he just hasn't fucking bothered to keep up and keep progressing? You know how fucking Buffy the Vampire Slayer was considered feminist for its time, and Joss Whedon is just fucking misogynistic as shit, along with all the other things he is? Yeah, like, it's not the fucking 90s anymore, guys. You do, in fact, need to learn what actual feminism is. You do, in fact, need to hire sensitivity readers when you are writing about marginalized groups you are not a part of, especially when you live in the UK, right now in 2023. Especially when you are writing about trans characters in the UK in a show that is guaranteed to reach millions of cis audience members, many of whom are absolutely transmissic and hate trans people. Russell T Davies has a responsibility to not harm trans people, and he has a moral fucking obligation to have a goddamn sensitivity reader. He's getting paid so much fucking money to write these scripts. He knows that millions of people are going to watch this shit, including cis people, including trans people, you know, the people supposedly being represented. And to have what would have been a decent episode with a decent moral, I can't say it's good, because there's so many problems even outside the bigotry that we're talking about here. To have what would have been fine, not great, just like the bare minimum, honestly, for 2023. And to then immediately throw all of that out the window by just fucking saying, well, actually, you're a male-presenting Time Lord, so you couldn't possibly understand this thing that has literally nothing to fucking do with gender. Like, obviously, the intention was to reaffirm that Rose is a woman, and, like, okay, you literally could have done that any other way besides assigning the doctor as purposefully presenting as male and then adding biological and gender essentialism by saying that, haha, men are stupid and never understand anything, and women are so mysterious and wise. And do I need to explain how that feeds into rape culture? No, I'm not going to. I'm just going to assume you know the basics of feminism. If you don't, that's too bad. Go read a book. Anyways. Russell T Davies, hire a fucking sensitivity reader. Hire multiple sensitivity readers. Hire trans women. Hire trans men. Hire non-binary people. Hire genderqueer people. Hire literally any fucking trans people who agree to take the goddamn job if you are going to write about trans characters on Doctor Who in 2023 with a budget that is ridiculous. And you are literally getting paid money by fucking Disney, which is a terrible fucking idea. But, you know, whatever. Who cares? They're already a monopoly. Who gives a shit if they buy Doctor Who in a few years? What's one more fucking drop in the bucket of the fucking evil monopoly? That's sarcasm, for the fucking record. It's ridiculous, and yeah, it's going to go terribly with Doctor Who being paid for by Disney. I'm not going to explain why that's a bad idea. You can figure it out yourself. Anyways, what is the moral of this 36-minute long video so far? I don't even know if this will show up as a short because I held my phone the wrong way by accident. I don't think it can be a short now that it's 36 freaking minutes long. But anyways, what is the moral of this video? Russell T Davies needs to hire he needs to hire multiple sensitivity readers. Cis people should consult with trans people when they are getting paid so much fucking money to produce a show that is supposed to be progressive in 2023 that millions of people are literally guaranteed to watch. Especially in the UK, with all the anti-trans legislation going on in the UK specifically, not even including anywhere else in the world, like the US, where people in fucking Florida are literally trying to make being trans punishable by death. There is a fucking moral obligation that is not even up for debate to make sure that you are not putting bigoted crap in your show that is going to harm trans people. And this is going to. Even just the fact that this cis man has introduced millions of cis people in particular, to the terminology of X presenting. Now these people are going to think, because this is what the show literally told you it's fine to do. These people are now going to think that they can go around calling trans people male presenting or female presenting and think that this is okay, and it is absolutely fucking not. Like I said, those are not terms you get to assign to other people. Those are strictly self-identification only. The only time you get to call anyone male presenting or female presenting, or masculine presenting, or feminine presenting, or linear any other variation, is if the person in question asks you to. If that is how they self-describe and self-identify. If you say that anybody who you think looks like a man is male presenting, you're just being fucking trans-misogynistic and probably exo-sexist, because trans people who look like men could in fact be trans women or non-binary or literally any other gender. You do not get to assign, you do not get to not only misgender people, but pretend that you're being progressive while doing so by insisting that you're only misgendering them because they look like a man to you, so that means they're male presenting. That's not how this works. That is not acceptable. And just the fact that Russell T Davies has introduced millions of oblivious cis people who would never have heard of this term in this way ever to these terms is just going to cause fucking hell for trans people, especially trans people who don't pass. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but most trans people are fucking poor. Most trans people will never pass because surgery and hormones are expensive. Clothing and anything else you'd need to pass are expensive. Not even getting into the fact that disabled people exist. And kids who are not out, or even if they are out, have no control over the clothes they get, or what their freaking hairstyle is, or if they're allowed to wear makeup or not. You do not get to insist that anybody is presenting purposefully as anything. Just because you think someone looks like a man does not mean that they are purposefully presenting themselves to the world as a man. That is not how this works. Female presenting and male presenting are not synonyms for looks like a man or looks like a woman or assigned male at birth or assigned female at birth. Unless somebody has specifically asked you to refer to them as male presenting, female presenting, do not fucking call anyone that, ever. It is literally just misgendering someone, and it's also putting the blame on them for being misgendered, because you're literally telling people, well, if you wanted me to be calling you the correct thing, you should look different. Like, I am not a woman, but I have boobs, and I'm short. I have short hair because I can control that now. I couldn't control that my entire childhood because I was not allowed to cut my hair short. I am not female presenting. I'm not feminine presenting. That's not how this works. You deciding that someone's gender is based on whatever the hell you think they look like, that's not progressive in any way, and it never will be. This is really fucking rambly. I don't even know if anybody's gonna watch this. If any transphobes have just come all the way to the 42 mark, congratulations, I hope you get some morals soon. How can I summarize this? Besides the fact that Russell T Davies needs to hire a sensitivity reader, and yeah, it's absolutely absurd in 2023 to be having an extremely expensive, high-budget episode of Doctor Who that does not include a sensitivity reader of any kind, when literally not even the day after, literally just 2 hours afterward, thousands of trans people in my tiny itty-bitty corner of the internet, thousands of trans people all came together agreeing, yeah, the line about you're a male-presenting Time Lord is absolutely terrible and bigoted and hurtful and like a slap in the face, as many people have said, is just, that's ridiculous. It's very clear that Russell T Davies, a cis man, wrote this. It's very fucking clear that he did not bother to get anyone's input. And if you're gonna say, oh, well, he could have asked, I just forgot her name. I don't know if it's Finney or Finley. He could have asked the actor for Rose. Okay. Do you understand why that's a problem? Like, that, I don't know how old she is. She's like 18. And he's the entire fucking show producer. And she has just gotten a job on Doctor Who. It is absolutely not fair to expect her to, like, actually criticize Russell T Davies. That's just ridiculous. That nobody better be demanding that of her. It is not her. Just no. Absolutely not. Because there's so much pressure on her. And you cannot go around pissing off the producer of your show no. Absolutely not. It's not her job to tell Russell T Davies, hey, this is not cool. You know whose job that would be? If anybody there were willing to pay for it, sensitivity readers who literally get paid to say, hey, no, you can't do that. That is not okay. That's hurtful. That's literally their job. They're not going to get fired for telling the writer, who is not part of their group, that he is unintentionally being bigoted towards our group, because that's their whole job. That is not the job of the actress in probably the most pressuring role she's ever gotten. That's not how this works. So, a summary again. This is like the third time I've summarized. Hire a goddamn fucking sensitivity reader. Hire multiple. Do not ever call anyone male presenting or female presenting unless you have their explicit permission. And just talk to trans people if you are not trans and you want to write about trans people, especially when you are getting paid millions of dollars to produce a story about trans people when you are not trans and you know that millions of people are going to watch your goddamn show. It's 2023. The standards must be higher than what would have been the bare minimum back in the 90s, and like was in fact the bare minimum all the way back in the 90s. Because if you're unaware, because you're living under a rock, trans people have been existing in media for decades. Trans people have existed in media since before I was born. They probably existed in media before you were born. In fact, I guarantee it, because trans people have always existed. It's 2023. It's just ridiculous. Alright, I'm gonna end the video here. It's 46 minutes long. 47 minutes in like 2 seconds. So yeah, that is a problem. And if this is how we're starting out, I really don't think it's going to get better. Russell T Davies doesn't seem to have learned anything since like 2010 or whatever the hell it was that he left Doctor Who. So yeah, that fucking sucks. I hope it gets better. I hope trans people get actual proper representation that's actually for us and not just making jokes for cis people to laugh at and for fake feminists to laugh at. Anyways, bye. Have fun. Trans your gender if you want. Bye-bye.